Hi, my name is Chris Carpenter. I am the winemaker for the Hickinbotham Clarendon Vineyard project in Clarendon. So I'm a winemaker for Jackson Family Wines, which owns the Hickinbotham Vineyard here in McLaren Vale. I also make wine in Napa Valley, La Jolla, Cardinal, Mount Brave, La Jolla. I have a project in Walla Walla, which is in eastern Washington, and my area of expertise is Cabernet. My ethos of winemaking is fairly simple. Concentrate in the vineyard. So a lot of how we are creating the wines for all of my wines, wherever I'm doing this, is first and foremost farming and understanding the vineyard at every level. And then by way of that, how that vineyard expresses itself differently from other vineyards around the world or in the particular region that you're in, and then capturing that, preserving it once the grapes hit the winery. So keeping the winemaking fairly simple when the grapes hit the winery, preserving that sense of place. The reason that I was given this opportunity is that I wasn't going to make a California wine in Australia. I was going to make a wine about Hickinbotham and about the importance of this vineyard and how it expresses itself here in Clarendon. So under Hickinbotham, we make a number of wines. We make a Shiraz, a Merlot, a Cab Franc, a Malbec, a Cab Shiraz blend, and of course a Cabernet. When somebody drinks my wine, what I'm hoping that they'll experience mostly is that sense of place, that understanding that the winemaking and the farming are very meticulous. And by way of that, they're getting a sense of why Clarendon is a really important place for Cabernet in the world. I think what makes McLaren Vale, from a wine region perspective, one of the most awesome places to make wine are those kilometers upon kilometers of incredible beaches that are a stone's throw away from these incredible growing areas. And if I was a wine tourist coming to the McLaren Vale, I would spend half my day going to wineries, and then I'd go down on the beach and watch that sun come down over Maslins. There's nothing like it. It's one of my all-time favorite places in the world to experience that. Well, I was brought over here to really highlight the Cabernet Sauvignon, but I'll tell you, we planted Cabernet Franc here in 2014, and it has proven to be an incredible expression of that variety. We make a Cabernet Franc from this vineyard. We do it a little differently than a lot of our colleagues here, in that a lot of the colleagues that I've seen make Cab Franc are really pursuing more of a Loire style. We make it right bank style. And I'm telling you, the fragrance, the touch on the palate, and the expressiveness of these wines rivals anything coming off the right bank. Why I'm here is for an event that we're doing at Myra Station, one of the great beef producers in South Australia. And beef and my wines go exceedingly well together. And we're gonna go through a full-on tasting of different cuts of their beef with our wines in the midst of the Hickinbotham Vineyard. So you got the place, you got the beef, and I'll throw in some music as well. If I was to name the people that have inspired me and that have guided me along the way, there's several. Vintner-wise, it would definitely be Pete Frazier. He's my colleague, he's a good mate, he knows the region, he was very influential in bringing me over here. Our partner in crime in the vineyard, McLean, taught me a lot about the vineyard and the importance of the soils here versus the soils that I have in Napa Valley. But more than anybody, it's not a vintner, he's an ex-journo, Philip White, has taught me so much about the region, the industry, Australia, life, philosophy, everything. And he and I are very simpatico that way. And I still learn from him. He's still one of my dearest friends. For me, the most memorable was the COVID vintage, because I was here as the world was starting to shut down. And I'll never forget that lead up to when I had to leave, I was checking 3 different websites. I was on the United Airlines website, the Australian government website, and the US website to figure out when things were going to make it difficult for me to get out of here. And at the same time, I'm trying to pick grapes and concentrate on making the best wine. And the day before United announced the last flight that they were doing, I picked the last block of Petit Verdot, got it in the barn, got it fermenting, and bolted. And it turned out to be a really good vintage in the end. I didn't get to ferment that one particularly all the way through, but it also pointed out the incredible team that I have at the winery, Shelley Torrenson and Guillaume Camus, who helped me with our vintage activities, and the confidence that I had in them was given back to me in that moment, and that for me has propelled me onward. Are old vines important? They are. They're important on a number of different levels. The historical content that they bring to storytelling and all of the different vintages that they may have contributed to. You know, Hickinbotham has had a role in a number of wines throughout its history. Penfolds Grange, Penfolds 707, the Clarendon Hills Vineyard Series, Australis, Wira Wira, Angeles, Hardy's Eileen's, the list goes on. And those old vines carry that tradition with them. They're also vines that they're very easy to farm at a certain point because they have acclimated to their region and to the vineyard that they're in to a degree that they don't need a lot of adjustments. And what fruit comes out of them typically is at the highest quality. Now, they're old boys, so they don't produce a lot, and you have to take that into account, but the quality level justifies that. You mix that with some of the teenagers and some of the younger ones along the way, and it gives you variability that you can then blend. And we have that across the Hickinbotham vineyard. Everything that we do from the perspective of approaching these vineyards that we are the shepherds of is either organic and at Yangara, which is our sister winery, biodynamic in its approach. So every input, every outcome, every long-term process that we're thinking about from a farming perspective, we're thinking about how it impacts the land and how it's going to sustain this land for viticulture for a very long time, and how we can partner with the surrounding environment to do that. And that's important. I think that kind of thought process should be carried out throughout all of our interaction with the natural world, and agriculture needs to be leading that way. And we do that not only here in McLaren Vale, but around the world in all the vineyards that Jackson family owns. We grow Grenache and Shiraz. We have Cabernet, Merlot, Malbec, Cabernet Franc, and Petit Verdot. We also are just starting to bud over some vines to Chenin Blanc. So we'll have a white wine coming out of here soon enough. And it's a really exciting place for all of these varieties. We're in a place in McLaren Vale that's very unique. Most of the McLaren Vale is on the flat, most of it's protected by the hills. We're up in those hills. And by way of the geography here, we realize some really unique effects from the breezes coming off of the Gulf of St. Vincent that cool this vineyard down in the evening. And then as those cooling airs fall, we reach this equilibrium of temperature that creates this diurnal shift that Cabernet and the varieties that I'm most familiar with or most concerned about, which are the Bordeaux varieties here, I do really well in. When that cooling effect rolls in, it slows the drop in tannins and the drop in acid. So you get this incredible natural acidity and wonderful structural components to the wine. And then because of these soils, we have 850 million year old soils here, some of the oldest soils in the region. There's not a lot of nutrients in those soils, and there's not a lot of water holding capacity. So the vines tend to concentrate a lot of the fruit characters up here that give you this great balance of acid, tannin, and then that concentration effect. And it's ideal for Cabernet. And we've kind of put our flag here and found that it can stand with some of the best Cabernets in Australia. You know, if you think about Margaret River or Coonawarra or Clare or the Yarra, Clarendon should be in that same group as far as a place that has excellent rendition of Cabernet. The other thing that makes this vineyard, besides all those factors that we talk about with the climate and the soils, what makes this vineyard unique, and you can see it over my shoulder here, is it has about a run and rise of about 30 meters from top to bottom. So you get different layers of soil depth, you get different air layers happening, and which creates different variability in ripening. Then you've got contours, you've got probably 360 degrees to the sun. So you get this incredible array of different characters per each block that as winemakers, we can keep separate and then blend and create a bigger spice rack for us to choose from when we're sitting down blending. For any winemaker, that's a really unique thing to have, and we have it in Scads here. Why did I want to make wine from this vineyard, and particularly Cabernet? The history. You know, these Cabernet vines have been going into some of the great wines of Australia for a long time, and I've mentioned some of those. I wanted to be part of that continuum of history. I also wanted to bring it back. The vineyard had kind of fallen out of favor for a little while. It wasn't being farmed at the highest level that it could have been. And we wanted to take this vineyard and the history that it had contributed to Australian viticulture and bring it back to a place that it's recognized as one of the great Cabernet areas in Australia and in the world. And having that as a winemaker is a winemaker's dream, you know, that to be able to bring back a historic place and bring it back knowing that the quality was there and could be there again, and that we could share that with everybody, that's something that you want to do. What I'm excited about with Clarendon Cabernet the most is that people are starting to recognize it as a place to grow Cabernet. My dear friends, Emma and Toby Becker, have a vineyard that you can maybe see off in the background here, and they're growing Cabernet here now. We had the owners of Le Pen in France buy some of the Cabernet from us this year because they're recognizing the quality of Cabernet here. And it's one of those things, you know, high tide rises all boats, and the recognizing that Cabernet is a variety for this sub-GI of McLaren Vale is really kind of cool and exciting that people are recognizing that, and the trade is recognizing it as well. You come out to this vineyard, there's no confusion as to why this place is as awesome as it is. And as more and more people get that, I can't help but be excited about it all. So why do you want to drink a Cabernet from Hickinbotham? Well, one, it's unique expression of Cabernet. It has a really wonderful red fruit character. There's a floral note, almost like a rose petal, orange blossom character in this vineyard. It's a really fine tannin and a really high note acid. So it's not a big ponderous Cabernet, but it still has structure and depth that proves it's a Cabernet of great ageability and quality and all those things that go in a Cabernet. You want to taste it because it is different, right? It's not Margaret River. It's not from the Yarra. It's uniquely McLaren Vale and uniquely Clarendon and at the highest level. And why wouldn't you want to taste that? Why wouldn't you want to explore it if you're a wine person? And that's why we do what we do. Come to McLaren Vale. Come and see why not only Cabernet producers, but the Grenache producers, the Shiraz producers, all the crazy Italian varieties that we're making here, why this region is important and why it is unique and why we should be proud of it as Australians and as wine drinkers. This is a really cool place, and you all should come here.